What's your biggest takeaway from Cassie Ventura's witness testimony at Diddy's trial? I know many people are asking the question, why didn't she leave earlier? Now, based on her testimony of her relationship with Diddy, I actually think this is a reasonable question to ask if it's not coming from a place of condemnation and tearing down. However, I think the question is being asked incorrectly, because surely the question has to be, what dynamic existed in year 10 which made her leave, but did not exist in year 1, year 5, year 7, year 9, and all the years she had stayed? No need to speculate, because Cassie tells us in the testimony why she was still there. When the prosecutor asked her, why didn't you tell the police who had sexually assaulted you in 2018? She said the words, I wasn't ready. Now, I think there's so many layers and nuances to the words I wasn't ready that if you're in tune, you would understand that those words didn't just apply to sexual assault and most likely apply to everything she was experiencing with Diddy. And she's basically saying she was not emotionally, psychologically, mentally, physically, or spiritually ready to talk about these things or to leave. Then she tells us that the nail in the coffin that made her leave was that she found out that he was in a relationship with another woman. So the dynamic that existed in year 10 that made her leave was that she was ready. My biggest takeaway is I hope we can all see ourselves in Cassie, because there's nothing new about Cassie's story, but it gets told over and over again. So what is it that we are not learning? Now, this might be a controversial take, but Cassie isn't just a victim of sexual assault and domestic violence. She's also a victim of her own poor choices and bad decisions. And please don't at me. This isn't victim blaming, and sure as hell isn't coming from a place of condemnation. I already said to you, we must all be able to see ourselves in Cassie, and two things can be true. Cassie is not in any way, shape, form, or manner responsible for the acts done against her by Diddy or any other perpetrator. Diddy and them should be held accountable, and quite frankly, Diddy should be locked up. But if we're having a real conversation, people, we should all be able to recognize that in our personal lives, we have all made some kind of decision, poor choices or bad decisions that has impacted us negatively. Jesus didn't say, let he who is a prostitute or who has never been with a prostitute cast the first stone. He basically said, let he who has never done any wrong cast the first stone. Which should tell us that self-accountability is the first step to self-forgiveness. There's a reason why the fake-offs happen in the dark behind closed doors, because nothing good comes from situations like that. Or else it would have been played out for the world to see, and the world will be blessing them for it. But that's not the case, is it? It's shrouded in darkness and secrecy for a reason. And those who participate in them, I don't care how beautiful, powerful, influential they look, quite frankly, it chips at their soul and makes them spiritually dead. There are nuances to poor choices and bad decisions, and the price we shouldn't pay for sexual gratification, love, success, power, money, whatever it is that we desire. Kudos to Cassie for sharing her story. I hope it helps us all.